Welcome back to another edition of the Fishing Pole. Today we're going to do something a little different, a little challenging. Today we're going to figure out what happens when you get one of these stuck in you. Stay tuned. At some point in time when you've been fishing, you're going to run into situations where you get one of these caught in yourself, in your dog, in some kid standing next to you. It happens. So we've got a bunch of fish hooks here. We've got a bunch of test subjects. And we all know the technique to get this hook out, but my question is will it work with all hooks? And will it work with multiple hooks? So we're gonna have a little fun today, kids. Okay, let's be honest. How many people have ever gotten a fish hook caught in them? Really? Well, let's find out what happens when it happens, and let's find out what to do when it happens. So this is going to be a fun episode, kids. So if you're squeamish, go watch the macrame channel, go watch the cooking channel. Do not watch this if you're squeamish. So let's take some hooks out of people. Yeah. Any volunteers? Where's my wife? So we're looking at about 5 hooks for this experiment. The first one here is a number 50. It's a Gamakatsu hook. It has a rather nasty curved upward barb, but these hooks are made to be taken out of bigger fish. This particular one I bought for stripers, and I think this is going to be an easier one to take out. The second one down here is a longer shaft J hook. It has an elongated barb, if you can see it there on the bottom. This I think is going to be pretty easy to take out just because there's a lot of leverage with a bigger hook. It's got a thicker wire, and it looks like this one might be one of the better ones for our experiment here. And the other 2 here are 2 gold hooks. The one on the bottom I usually use for trout. It has 2 small bait holder barbs on the shaft of it, and I'm wondering if that might be a problem trying to release the hook from our test subject today. I've used gold hooks for years for trout. I mean, this is a very common hook, so this might be one of the ones that you probably see more often. It's like a number 6, number 8 hook. The top hook over here is a 10, 12, like a bait fish hook. You might find them in like a sabiki rig. The smaller ones, I'm questioning whether they will stick harder, whether there's less leverage. Is it harder to pull the smaller ones out as opposed to the bigger ones? I mean, that's why we're doing this little experiment today. And the top one, this is a really old spoon I was given by my uncle. It's sitting at the bottom of my tackle box. The hooks are nice and sharp, and I'm going to put 2 of the barbs in our test subject, and we're going to see how hard it is to get 2 treble hook barbs out of somebody. And here we have our volunteer for our hook removal. This was donated by the lovely people over at Frank Perdue family. All right, we're going to start off with this little beauty here. This is the big old J hook with the nasty barb at the end of it. Okay, we are going to first put it into, I'm doing this left-handed here, so we'll see how good this goes. Let's see the best way. I'm going to do it from this angle. Thinking this is the back of somebody's arm. Put it in there nice and deep. That's in there nice and good. That's a nice tough barb there. So the technique is to take this. We're going to take the braid. And again, I'm using a darker braid, but hopefully it's a lot more visible for the camera. I'm going to hook it, loop it around a couple times around the base of the barb here. And again, if this was a situation where you were outside, if you had the opportunity, what you really would want to do is to clean your arm off if you could. Soap and water if there's like a restroom nearby. If you have hand sanitizer on you, if you're like most of the paranoid people in the world, you could try that. Clean it off first as best you can. All right, in this case, we're wrapping the braid around, and the technique is to push down on it. I'm going to push down on it and pull. And lo and behold, it worked beautifully. That worked pretty darn good. No effort whatsoever. The patient didn't scream. That's always good. So we'll consider that one a success. Okay, we're going to do test subject number 2. This is the circle hook. It's pretty thick. It's pretty heavy, heavier gauge wire than the other one, and it is offset. These are made to take hooks out easier. The barb, if you can look at that, the barb is curved. I don't know if we can focus there. The barb is curved. I don't know if that's going to give us a problem trying to get this out. And we're going to try this again. Oh, I can hear someone screaming right now. That's in there nice and deep. We're going to use the same technique. Take it, wrap the braid around a few times. And the nice part about it is this is something you probably would have on you. You could just snap a piece off of your rod. You might even have some in your bag. So try this one more time. We're going to push the braid as close as we can to the barb, and I'm going to push down. We're going to, oh, check that out. That worked good. That was a success. So the clean and jerk method worked really well. This would be something I would use probably for trout. As you can see, it's got 2 bait holder barbs on the shaft there. And we've got a barb. Let's see if my glove will highlight that a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be a problem. I want to see if maybe I can push the hook in pretty deep. I have it pushed in pretty far. I have the barb pretty deep in here. See, in this case right here, you probably would need a different technique. I now could not pull this out if it was this far into a person, as you can see. If I take the barb toward the base of the hook, I just can't pull it out because the hook's in the wrong direction. So what you would do is you would take it and re-pierce the skin. I can hear people screaming right now. Don't do it, don't do it. I can hear people screaming out there right now. Now, this barb is sticking out of the skin twice. Why would you do that? Why would we do something so silly? Well, we're doing it so we can cut that barb off. That barb is what's keeping the hook inside of us. So I want to use this other hook as a tool. Of course, normally your skin wouldn't be this dead unless you were 900 years old. And there we go. Okay. Now, imagine, if you will, you are stuck and the barb is completely through. So what you would do is take these handy dandy side cutters and you would cut that barb off. So let's see how easy this is going to be with these side cutters. It worked. How about that? It worked. And now the hook gets pulled out. And that's the other technique you can use. We're going to use this really small, I think it's like a number 10, number 12 tiny hook. This one you might use for panfish. This one you might also find on like a sabiki rig. If you're using a sabiki rig with like 4 or 5 little these tiny hooks on there, it might prove a little problematic if you get stuck one inside yourself. So I'm going to leave the braid stuck on here. We're going to save a little bit of time. Nice fresh piece of meat here. We'll get it jammed in there nice and good. This one I think might be a problem trying to get out just because of the size. I'm a big guy, I got big hands, so this might prove a little more problematic. So again, this is going to be a learning experience for everybody here. I'm not quite sure if this is going to work. So again, for me to push down on it and pull might be kind of hard, but we're going to try it. I'm going to push down. Oh, and it comes out. That actually wasn't too bad. I think the best thing I've learned from this is to just do it fast. As you can see, I already tied these on. If you see the dangerous part here, if I put my finger down here, that third barb is really close to my finger. So let's enlist the aid of another tool to see if it might work. Every fisherman might have one of these. This is an old needle driver I think I had laying around. You probably use a pair of hemostats or a pair of pliers. 1, 2, 3. Yes! It worked. That did work, but I needed another tool to do it. I think the takeaway from this is if you do it, try to do it as fast as you can. Once you get something stuck in your arm, your endorphins will kick off and it won't hurt as much. But later on, as you leave that in your arm, it's going to start to hurt more. And when you pull it, you want to pull that pretty fast. I think that's what made it pretty successful. I was a little leery about getting stuck with that barb, so I wasn't pushing down enough. The needle drivers or the hemostats work pretty well. You might even have a pair of needle nose pliers sitting in your box too, which will work just as well. I would not advise pulling it out just with the pair of pliers. You need to, you really need to put two forces on it. One going down and the other one going across at the same time. And that clean jerk should get it out successfully. So this is pretty educational. The one thing I will mention, if you don't have it, is you really need to update your tetanus shot. If you hadn't had a tetanus shot in 10 years, tetanus could be a very nasty, nasty reaction. We don't see a lot of tetanus reactions here in this country because everybody gets a shot. So if you think or you don't think, or maybe you had it done and it hasn't been since you were a kid and you're older, definitely get a tetanus booster. Go to your local physician, go to your ER, try to get a tetanus shot. The other thing you want to try to do is clean the skin off first too. Pulling the hook out and any residual bacteria that's on your skin might infect it. So try to clean the surface, just kind of like surgery. You know, you want to clean the skin off beforehand. If you had a cut, you may want to wash the cut off. It's the same thing with this. And the other thing you want to try to do is, if it's in your fisherman's bag, is if you have first aid ointment, bacitracin, triple antibiotic ointment is always good. Band-aids, sunscreen. We could probably save that for another video. First aid stuff you want to keep on you when you fish. So I hope this was educational. This is pretty fun for me to do. Any other comments you guys want to include? If I missed something, please let me know. And I'll do a hook removal for you. I've thought of eyes. I don't know what to mimic with eyes, and the volunteers for getting a hook out of a person's eye are kind of limited. So if there's something I can substitute with it, but in that case, I would definitely run to the ER. Guys, if your junk gets stuck, please run to the ER. And there's other areas too that would probably get hit, the webbing in between your fingers. And this technique will probably work just as well. If I missed anything, let me know. Like, comment, hit that subscribe bell, please. Use all the help I can right now. This is fun and doing. And if you like what you see, keep watching. Happy fishing, everybody.